and welcome to Very Superstitious. This is a podcast that will examine diverse superstitions from around the world and try to figure out their origins and why they're still being what the fuck, man?
Digital Underground.
And try to figure out why they're still being diligently followed universally. Because as Stevie says, you suffer when you believe in things that you don't understand. So let's get a little understanding. Once again, I'm Paula Jai Parker, and this is Very Superstitious. Now, I believe in superstitions. So I decided to invite a more discerning mind to join these conversations with us. Let's just say someone a little less gullible than I, and someone who enjoys telling it like it is. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my husband, Mr. Forrest Demetrius Martin.
As I diligently.
I'm going to erase all of that. So you're just saying things that the people won't even understand because I'm going to erase me.
Superstition.
You know what? That's why. Right there.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, what's up? My name is Forrest D. Martin. Welcome to this superstition? What superstition?
Very superstitious.
Very superstitious podcast.
Like Stevie says.
And she ain't lying, y'all. She says she's superstitious and believe in superstitions. There are so many superstitions I had no idea existed until I married this beautiful queen.
Some of the superstitions I've been believing since I was a child. I must admit, I did not step on no cracks. I never stepped on a crack. Like, I don't know if, if my mama even thought her back hurt. I wasn't about to step on a crack. Because you remember step on a crack, you break your mama back.
I thought that was, yes, I did remember. I do remember that. When I thought it was the most bullshit superstitions of all time. Are you kidding me? You just gonna walk down the sidewalk and not step
When I was in the first grade, I distinctly remember not stepping on cracks. And it could also be a part of a mental thing with me, like cuckoo, cuckoo.
So
like,
So it's you step on the crack, you break your mama back?
Mm-hmm.
I never believe that bullshit.
Okay, well, me personally, I never stepped on cracks in the first grade. Like, I would walk to school and purposely avoid the cracks. And I do believe it has something to do with my OCD. I also count. I know a lot of people also count when they walk, and that is also something that is superstition. It has something to do with the way the brain is configured. Do you believe in superstitions?
Yes, I do.
So you do believe?
Yes. Yes, I do believe in superstitions. Just not all of them. Some of them just...
Well, of course, we don't believe.
Are just ridiculous.
Well, what is the definition of a superstition?
A belief or practice resulting from ignorance,
Ooh.
fear of the unknown, trust in magic or chance, or a false conception of causation.
Or an irrational, abject attitude of mind towards the supernatural, nature, or God, resulting from superstition. A notion maintained despite evidence to the contrary. But some of the other ones that I do are tossing salt behind my left shoulder. What some are some of the superstitions that you find yourself doing? Do you do some of the actor superstitions? Do you think being actors has led to us being so superstitious?
Yes, a lot of superstitions are mostly started in the theater.
Yes.
Back in Greek theater and conception of theater back in the day.
Greek, yes.
But of course, I would never tell.
Like, let's let the people know. What are some of the don't wish someone good luck? You always say break a leg.
Don't say the word. Which one is? I get it mixed up.
Macbeth.
Is Macbeth?
You got to say the Scottish play.
See, I thought that was bullshit. That's another one I thought
Like
was bullshit.
like
And
you
I
can't
love
say
Shakespeare, so
you can't say it
you can't say Macbeth
in
the
the theater. Right.
That's some bullshit. How
This
you
is
gonna
our house,
not
but kind of our
say?
theater. So if we were strict, you know, superstitious people, is that the dog growling? You know what I'm saying? Us saying that is just not cool. And we really got the lights turned down, y'all. We really set the tone for this superstitious podcast. So today we're going to start in Turkey because, they got so much going on in Turkey right now with Turkey and Armenia.
Right?
And Armenia just a little bitty thing right there. And Turkey all big and fat and they just want to be mean. And I'm like, why y'all so mean? Why you gotta be so mean? Like Taylor asked. So one of the major what they call superstitions. Let me get go ahead.
It's really
In Turkey, go ahead.
you can't just slide over that right like that. It's really a serious situation going on. The Turkish or the Turks, right?
Yep.
The Turks are again invading the Armenians. They're slaughtering them. They're ripping their skin off while they are alive. They're dismembering their body parts and torturing their people, and killing them because they want the land back. It's all about the land. And we're not hearing anything about it in the news. Well, it's election time in America, so they really don't give a shit about
And
what's
despite
happening.
the fact that like hundreds of Armenian people here in Los Angeles took over Beverly Hills, America acted like, okay, thank you.
To protest, yes.
Nothing happened. No help. No, no. I mean, Trump can call the National Guard on black people protesting within our own country, our own communities. But he can't call the National Guard when it really matters, when there are people, bombing suburbs.
Cluster bombs, like prohibited
But you're calling the
bombs
National Guard
by the world
on
peace leaders.
on people, your own people,
Yeah.
because they're carrying paper and attached to sticks. But you can't call the National Guard to help a whole country, children, babies being dismembered. And that's why today's Turkish superstition is about chewing gum. A major superstition in Turkey is you cannot chew chewing gum at night. It's very bad luck to chew chewing gum at night because you just might be chewing a piece of flesh. Okay, I'm going to drop the mic with that. Now, what did you just say, Forrest, about what they're doing to the people in Armenia?
Ripping the skin off of their flesh while they are still alive.
Okay, now this
And
one
dismembering
I
their
would
body
say
parts.
is kind of easy. Like where this, now this came from thousands and thousands of years ago. This superstition predates Christ. It's basically saying don't chew chewing gum at night. Well, first of all, we know chewing gum predates Christ. I mean, there's people from all over the world chewing gum. They, the Chinese were chewing ginseng. That's chewing gum. Eskimos were chewing blubber. South Americans were chewing cocoa leaves. North Americans were chewing.
Hold on, go back. Let's start.
What? What? What?
The Eskimos were chewing blubber from
Yes.
the seal?
Right. They cut the seal. The Eskimos, they don't waste no parts of the flat. They do the rooter to the tutor of the seals like we use the pig. They would take the blubber and chewing.
How did they prepare
Africans-
the blubber to turn it into gum? It was just straight blubber?
They would, I guess,
They put some
boil
sugar
it.
on that motherfucker?
I don't know, honey. I don't know.
Cherry flavored
I
blubber,
really,
strawberry flavored blubber
you know
gum.
what? You put really
Blubber
too much
gum.
thought into it.
Blubber gum. Okay.
Blubber gum. They're chewing blubber gum.
Alright.
Yes. Africans have been known to chew since
Okay.
the beginning of time. We chew the sticks. Chewing, it's meditative. It's spiritual to chew. Africans have been chewing to reach meditative places, to reach the divine. We bite our nails. It's cannibalistic. I sometimes bite I'm a biter. I do bite my nails, and I bite the skin sometimes if it's a little hard. That's a form of cannibalism.
There was
South
different things they
Americans,
were chewing on.
South Americans, in the beginning of time, they were chewing on cocoa leaves.
Okay, so they were chewing cocaine.
Yes,
They
they
were
were
sitting
chewing
around
cocaine.
chewing cocaine.
Right, right. In South America, they were chewing cocaine. They were chewing
In
cocaine,
South America.
and now they're selling it.
Now they the biggest cocaine sellers in the,
First they was chewing it.
in the world.
Now they're distributing it. Okay. North America, sugar pine, sugar cane. My mom talks about when she was a little girl chewing sugar cane. Spruce sap, the sap from the trees. In Asia, South Asia, they were chewing betel nuts. Americans, we've been chewing tobacco for a very, very long time. For a very long time. But, it's been studies, there have been studies that have shown that chewing improves working memory, episodic memory, brain speed, and perception. And these effects last up to 15 to 20 minutes after you've been chewing or continue to chew. So chewing really does, if you kill some brain cells by smoking, you can chew them back. But you just going through it if you chewing the tobacco. Maybe that explains why Americans is crazy with chewing and killing and killing and chewing and chewing and killing and chewing. So, chewing, there's something to the chewing. But there's definitely something to this Turkish superstition of not chewing gum at night. Because with the lights off, you just might be chewing some flesh. Now, I don't think it's too hard to figure out where all of this stems from. Because when we talk about cannibalism, through the ages, people have been eating their enemies. We were just watching the boogity boogity. They chopped a man's penis off and put it on the boogity boogity doll. This is a movie that we recommend called Spell that we were watching, starring Loretta Devine and the guy who tried to kiss Beyonce, Omari Hardaway. What is his name? Hardwick. Yeah, very talented people, those two. And everybody in the whole movie was phenomenal. I had such a good time watching that movie. So it's not just a Turkish thing. Jesus, he even talked about, that's what we do with the Eucharist. We eat the flesh of his flesh and we drink the grape juice. But when Jesus did it, when Jesus first said, you all are going to have to eat the flesh of my flesh and drink the blood of my blood, a lot of people got up and left. They were like, I don't think so. Whoa, wait a minute, Jesus. Now, you had me till you said we was going to have to eat your flesh. The only ones that stayed were the disciples. Like, he said that to a room full of people. And they all got up and left, except the disciples. The disciples said they stayed. I think Peter is the one who said, well, what you gonna do? Like 4 of them. I think it was Peter, John, then Matthew, and Andrew. They were like, what you gonna do? Fine. We didn't come this far with you. If we gotta eat your flesh and drink your blood, bring it on. So Jesus took a loaf of bread, blessed it, cut it up, and said, this is my flesh. He took some wine, blessed it, and said, and this is my blood. And you all shall believe that these things are what I say they are. And if you believe that they are what I say they are, then they are what I say they are. And you are now partaking in the flesh of my flesh, and you become one with me. By consuming my flesh, you become one with me. By drinking my blood, you become one with me. So, in essence, what Jesus is saying is, if you believe it, that is what makes it so. Not if you, so you didn't really have to eat the penis of your adversary, as many do in the Congo, or a lot of countries. They think that will make them stronger. You don't have to do that. If you can eat a carrot and say, this is the penis of my adversary, I'm going to eat this, and it's going to make me stronger because I believe it's going to make me stronger, and it will make you stronger. That is what Jesus is teaching. And that is the concept that I think all superstitions really are basically dealing with. So I did a little research to figure out what is going on with these Turkish people, that they're still, where did this come from? And now, to this day, they're still practicing. I don't know if they're eating the people after they skin them alive. We know for a fact they've skinned them. I don't know what they do with the skin after they take it off of the people. I don't know. Can't call it. Boogada boogada. In spell, the dude had to eat a piece of his son's skin for the spell to work. That's a form of, once again, what? Cannibalism. So in 2013, there was a video found of a rebel fighter in Syria, which is right next door to Turkey. They found this guy named Abu Sakara. There was a video with him opening up the heart of another soldier, or just opening up his body and then eating his body pieces, like taking bites of his body pieces. And this was just 2013. But this dates all the way back to Mesopotamia, and the beginning of religion and the divine. And Osiris is said to have brought the practice of agriculture to the people because we were eating ourselves. We were eating each other up. So the only way he could stop us from eating each other up was to give us vegetables to eat. Herodotus tells us that Darius, who ruled Turkey, said that it was common practice for Turkish people to devour their enemies and eat the dead. What have you heard about chewing gum personally? Like, I've had my own issues with chewing gum through the years. Like, eating chewing gum at night, I've gotten punched in the face. I remember I got chewing gum stuck in my hair. And my mother's husband, my stepfather, wanted her to put me to bed. But there was chewing gum stuck in my hair. So she was like, look, I've got to take the chewing gum out of her hair before she goes to bed. And he was like, I said take her and put her to bed now. And he went to hit my mother. And I'm pretty sure she put me in the way. To cover her from, she didn't think he was going to hit me. But he did. And that was my first experience with chewing gum at night.
Well, that's actually the myth I heard about chewing gum was you are not supposed to fall asleep with chewing gum because it could get stuck in your hair while you're asleep. So hold on, I have so many questions. The chewing gum was stuck in your hair before you went to bed?
Yes.
How the fuck?
No. I went to bed, and the chewing gum got stuck in my hair. I woke up, and the chewing gum was everywhere.
I mean, first of all, who's the dude? Sound like a jackass.
He was. That was my mother's.
Fuck him.
That was my stepfather. My mother. Yet? Yes, he's passed over.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Dead self.
Oh.
He sounds. So you fell asleep with chewing gum in your mouth, and it got in your hair, and you woke up, and he was like, "Go back to bed."
Right. Yeah.
And he wanted you to go to bed without your mother fixing or getting the chewing gum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's a fuckface for that.
Right.
So that was the myth, And I don't think that's a myth. I guess that's more of a precaution.
Well, did you ever hear?
But I heard that, yeah.
But
So
did you
the
ever
other one,
hear?
I got a
Okay,
few
go
of them.
ahead.
I got a
Oh,
few of
good.
them.
Okay. Wait,
So
wait a minute. Did you hear that if you put chewing gum and if you swallow chewing gum, it'll sit in your stomach?
that's the next one.
Yes. Okay.
That's the main fucking one
Okay.
right there. Swallowing. You're not supposed to swallow chewing gum.
Right.
And I think I was told this by a goddamn teacher. I think like my second or third grade teacher broke it down to us how you're not supposed to swallow chewing gum.
Because it can't digest or something.
Yeah, it don't digest correctly. It gets stuck to your intestines.
Intestine.
Intestines?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's
Sometimes
a word.
when you
I
don't get to
know if
fucking
that
use
really
words in so long, you just forget how to say them motherfuckers. I've never had any reason to use the word intestines. And I don't know how fucking long, so I forgot to say it. But that's the main one.
But I don't even think it's biodegradable. Like, I don't think does it recycle? No, I mean in the universe. Like, there's just a whole bunch of chewing gum in the world that just sits around and
the
under
bugs eat it
no, I think it makes them die or something like rice.
Yeah, it's just
like you
hard
like
and
it's just
hanging around.
It's I looked it up. Like it's not conducive to
but the human
world.
Body is amazing. It digests and break it down just like.
How do you know there's not a bunch of chewing gum just sitting on the bottom of your intestines?
Because that's what the myth comes in. It's not true. It doesn't work like that. It breaks down. Our body system our digestive system breaks it down and digests it. Same goddamn way if I eat some candy yams. Oh yeah. But also, I guess this is also a precaution. Not also that if you fall asleep with the chewing gum in your mouth while you're asleep, it can also choke you in your sleep.
Right.
If you fall asleep with chewing gum.
It can also mess up your teeth. If you fall asleep with chewing gum in your mouth, the sugar can erode your teeth. They discovered a Stone Age chewing gum. You know, it's like 5,700 years old.
Dinosaur nuts? The fuck were they chewing?
So, you know.
The Eskimos chewing seal blubber. The hell were they chewing? So speaking about the chewing gum and the flesh eating comparison, that's just it just sounds so savagely sickening and like crazy.
Okay,
was it Jeffrey Dahmer or cannibal? Which one of these U.S. American serial killers were also fucking cannibalists?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
He was a cannibal. He ate women, or he just killed
men. He ate the men.
He ate the men.
I think with their penises. So he ate black men penises. So there are health risks with chewing gum because it produces an excess of saliva in your mouth that you don't need, and it makes you think you're hungry because your stomach is waiting, because you chewing is waiting for the food to come, and it's getting ready and digesting, and nothing ever comes. So there have been some studies that have proven that chewing gum is not good for the system.
To swallow or just to chew? Because chewing gum been around forever. I mean,
but chewing gum is good for the brain.
Chewing is good for brain.
Right, but not necessarily gum.
Y'all catch up with that one when y'all let me know when y'all catch that one.
Chewing is good for the brain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Guess what one? What are you talking about? Yeah.
And then the swallowing chewing gum, I eventually found out that was bullshit. Once I started playing like Pee Wee sports and be at practice, chewing gum, you make a mistake and swallow the gum and everything was just fucking fine. I usually had a mouthpiece, but there were times if I'm out playing ball or something, you be chewing gum and out playing, you chewing gum, fucking swallow the gum by mistake. Ain't like I ran in the house crying and shit, I swallowed some gum. Just kept fucking playing. You realize, you know what? That swallowing gum is some bullshit.
Okay, here. This is it. Environmental impacts of chewing gum.
All right.
It's stuck to the pavement. 80% to 90% of gum isn't disposed of properly. So it kind of just sits there. Toxins all over the place. And I mean, it could possibly be why we're getting so many crazy diseases. You got chewing gum in your mouth, you spit it on the ground.
This is nasty.
You know, somebody steps on it and they carrying your nasty chewing gum germs home with them.
Yeah.
Now your germs on their feet,
Yeah.
in their house, on their shoes. They gotta take their hands to take their shoes off.
Gross.
And to get the chewing gum, I've had chewing gum on my bottom of my shoe before. And you know, you want to grab something to grab it off, but sometimes it gets on your fingers. Don't lie, y'all have had to sometimes use your finger or fingernail or something quickly to get it off your shoe. We're not talking about poop here. You know, don't act like you haven't reached under a table or a desk or something and touched it. Ew. And just now we've gotten into the habit of washing our hands after everything. Don't act like y'all haven't in the past. You know.
That's the worst. I remember clearly sitting in elementary school feeling chewed up gum under my desk that was stuck under my desk the whole fucking school year. Just there. Just
You don't even know if it was the whole year.
feel like it.
They sometimes
long
like
time.
for detention you have to scrape the chewing gum from the bottom.
It's terrible. That's abusive.
So yes, chewing gum is bad for the environment. It's made out of synthetic materials and it's harmful. Now what we used to chew, that was okay.
What?
Because some tobacco, you spit it out, it grow back in a couple of years.
It's cancer.
All of this stuff we used to chew was okay. The cocoa
The
leaves,
cocaine.
the sap from the trees,
That's cool.
all of that was natural. But now we're creating, you know, toxins and releasing them into the universe and chewing them and then spitting them out, you know, not even properly putting them in a piece of paper and throwing it away.
Everything you're saying, however, is not going to stop me from chewing gum.
Okay. Well, good for
Because gum helps a lot of people's breath after you smoke some dope sometimes.
you. Well,
And it helps.
the Turkish people have stopped from chewing gum on
At night.
at night, but sometimes they've brought it into the daytime where if they're going to they take mints. That's why Turkish people, they take a lot of Altoids
Turkish mints.
and Turkish mints. They do not chew
Strong
gum.
as fuck.
Yes, and that is why they will not chew gum before important meetings. They will not chew gum before meeting important people. They will not chew gum before going on first dates. And they will not chew gum at night. That's where you find those Turkish mints. Yes.
So it's bad luck to chew gum for them.
Yes.
It's just straight up bad luck.
Yes, it's
Fucking around
straight up
chewing
bad
gum is bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
As they
Because
savagely
and let me-
torture people.
so let's start with I'm gonna read a little story to you all. It's called The Juniper Tree, and it is a wives' tale of Turkish delight, and we'll kind of find out where these ideas come from. A wealthy and pious couple pray every day to God to grant them a child. One winter, under the juniper tree in the courtyard, the wife peels an apple. She cuts her finger and drops of blood fall onto the snow. This leads her to wish for a child to be as white as snow and as red as blood. 6 months later, the wife becomes gravely ill from eating juniper berries and asks her husband to bury her beneath the juniper tree if she dies. A month later, she gives birth to a baby boy as white as snow and as red as blood. She dies of happiness. Keeping his promise, the husband buries her beneath the juniper tree. He eventually marries again, and he and his new wife have a daughter named Marilyn. In some versions, Marlene, Marjorie, or Anne Marie. I say we call her Anne Marie because I understand that. The new wife loves Anne Marie, but despises her stepson. She abuses him every day, claiming that she wishes Anne Marie to inherit her father's wealth instead of her stepson. One afternoon after school, the stepmother plans to lure her stepson into an empty room containing a chest of apples. Anne Marie sees the chest and asks for an apple, which the stepmother gracefully offers. However, when the boy enters the room and reaches down the chest for an apple, the stepmother slams the lid onto his neck, decapitating him. The stepmother binds his head with the rest of his body with a bandage and props his body onto a chair outside with an apple on his lap. Anne Marie, unaware of the situation, asks her stepbrother for an apple. Hearing no response, she is forced by her mother to box him in the ear, causing his head to roll onto the ground. Anne Marie profusely cries throughout the day whilst the stepmother dismembers the stepson's body and cooks him into a blood soup, or black pudding, for dinner. She later deceives her husband by telling him that his son stayed at the mother's great-uncle's house. The husband unwittingly eats the blood soup during dinner and proclaims it to be quite delicious. Anne Marie gathers the bones from the dinner and buries them beneath the juniper tree with a handkerchief. Suddenly, a mist emerges from the juniper tree and a beautiful bird flies out. The bird visits the local townspeople and sings about its brutal murder at the hands of its stepmother. Captivated by its lullaby, a goldsmith, a shoemaker, and a miller offer the bird a gold chain, a pair of red shoes, and a millstone in return for the bird singing its song again. The bird returns home to give the gold chain to the husband while giving Anne Marie the red shoes. Meanwhile, the stepmother complains about the raging fires within her arteries, revealed to be the real cause of her anger and hatred towards her stepson. She goes outside for relief, but the bird drops the millstone onto her head, killing her instantly. Surrounded by smoke and flames, the son, revealed to be the bird, emerges and reunites with his family. They celebrate and head inside for lunch and live happily ever after. So,
Cooler story.
You
I
think
tell you,
so?
boy, a gold chain been holding weight for many, many years, huh? Give a motherfucker a gold chain.
that's what you got out of that. I'm looking at this
just
like,
glad.
really, Mama? I mean, Mama wanted to kill the boy. So she had him reach over into the chest, then drop the chest and chopped his head off. That's one hell of a chest right there. Let's start right there. The chest is one hell of a chest. Now the boy's head is chopped off. So she calls the little girl in because she don't want to get in trouble for chopping his head off. She going to blame it on the daughter. Baby, come in here and ask the little boy to give you an apple. Now here we go. Here are some themes that we've been hearing biblically, for a very long time. The apple, the juniper tree, the tree. It started with the tree. Now we've got this tree again, and we got these apples, and now we got the girl, and she wants an apple, and it's sitting in the boy's lap. Why you put the apple in the lap? It's kind of trying to say some things. Can I have an apple off your lap? He said he not answering, so she like.
Oh, did she? What you said? She put his head on top of. She propped his head.
She put his head back on his head.
She bandaged
it back up.
And
Put a
an
bunch
apple
of
on
band.
the
And she
lap?
took an ace bandage and wrapped it around his neck and his head and put it back on.
the chair.
Then put it back in. He still was sitting on the chair. Then she put the apple on his lap.
Right.
Then she called the little girl in the room
Right.
and she said, "Ask your brother if you could have an apple on his lap." And
say
first
shit.
of all, why is it on his lap? That's what I'm trying to get. He didn't say
I
nothing.
got you. Wow.
That's a little nasty. I
Yeah.
think they trying to
Hey.
say nasty stuff. So he don't say nothing. So now she's like, okay, well, he's not saying anything. So the mama's like, well, knock him upside the head. And so he say something. So the little girl knock him upside the head and his head fall off. So now the little girl thinks she done killed the brother and knocked his head off for an apple. So she running around crazy in the head. And the mama like, you done killed your brother. you knocked the heck out that boy. You know, she didn't get this child a complex. This child couldn't knock the paper off the table, but she done knocked the head off the man, and now they done took the body. They not even gonna tell the man that she didn't even snitch on the girl. Like, she didn't even do it so that the girl would take the heat. She just did it to drive the girl crazy. Cause I mean, if she had done it like and then they went and told the cops, you know, like she knocked him upside the head and his head fell off. You know, she didn't even do it like it was an alibi or something. She just did it to mentally abuse the little girl. Like, what is why? Why are you doing that? So now they cook the boy and serve him to the father. Why? Why are you serving the boy? He's the man's son. Boogity boogity boo.
He said that shit was good as a motherfucker.
This nigga like, damn, not the best soup I ever had. Where the hell you get that damn turkey? You know? Another example of, and then the father not knowing what's going on, he becomes more powerful. You know? And the little girl, she gathers up the bones, and then we've got some reincarnation going on.
Bury him in the backyard.
And he turns into a bird.
And go snitch and tell what happened.
You know? And it's interesting, a bird, because there have been studies that show that birds are very superstitious creatures. Look it up if you don't believe me. There was a study that this guy did in the early 1900s where he found that he timed the feeder for the pigeons, but certain pigeons all did different things, that like whatever they had been doing right before the feeder fed is what they associated with making the feeder feed. So each bird thought his thing was the thing that made the feeder feed. So they do, like, one bird had a little booty shake, another bird would like cock his head a few times. So the study showed that they would consistently do these things, thinking that they would bring about a desired result. This is the Turkish fairy tale that I want you to read. This one. It's the precursor to the Brothers Grimm story, Hansel and Gretel.
Once there was an old Padishah who had a son and a daughter. In due time he died, and his son reigned in his stead. It was steed or stead?
Stead.
In due time he died, and his son reigned in his stead. It was not long before the young man dissipated the whole fortune bequeathed by his father.
Dang, so he okay. So dude died. There was a Parisha. No, cause this is what I'm gonna do. Let's find out what a Parisha is. It sounds like a king. How you spell it, Pardisha? So a Pardisha is a great king. Let's start there. And he got, so dude was great. He had a son and a daughter. He died, and the son took over, and then he squandered all the money. Okay, I'm with you. Go ahead.
One day it said to his sister, "My dear, we have spent all our fortune. If it should become known that we have no money, we should have to leave this neighborhood."
The neighborhood.
If it should become known,
wait a minute. So if everybody find out they broke, they gonna kick them out the neighborhood.
Yep, they gotta go.
But they the king. How you gonna kick the king out the neighborhood?
It's all about the money, baby.
Okay. Well, they gonna figure it out when they don't pay their bills. No, they don't have no lights. They didn't have no bills.
If it should,
they would have had some bills.
No, that we have no money, we should have to leave this neighborhood, as we could never look anyone in the face. We had better go away quietly now before it's too late. So they gathered their belongings together and left the palace secretly in the night. They journeyed they know not whither until they reached a great plain of apparently limitless dimensions. Almost overcome by the heat of the day and ready to succumb to fatigue, they presently espied a pool Sister, said the brother to the maid, I can make no further step without a drink of water. But brother, she answered, who knows whether it's water or not? As we have endured so long, surely we can hold out a little longer when perhaps we shall find water. But the brother objected. No, I go no further. I must drink if I am to live. Thereupon the sister fetched a draught which the young man drank greedily, and scarcely had he done so than he was transformed into a stag. The maid, the maid
Lamented.
lamented bitterly, climbed the tree. I will go and endeavor to find food. The maid accordingly climbed the tree, and the stag went foraging into the vicinity. Soon he caught a hare, which the sister prepared for their meal. In this way the two lived from day to day until several weeks had passed. How long is this motherfucking story? You said it was a short story.
Read the damn story.
Now, it chanced that the prodigious horses were accustomed to be watered from the spring by the tree. In the evening, slaves brought them, and while they were quenching their thirst in a trough, the animals saw the reflection of the maid on the clear surface of the water, and timidly drew back. The slaves, thinking that the water was perhaps not clean, emptied the trough and refilled it. Still the horses shrank back and refused to drink, and at length the slaves related this unaccountable incident to the Padisha. Perhaps the water is muddy, suggested the potentate. Oh no, answered the slaves, for we have emptied the trough and refilled it with fresh water. Go back, said the Padisha, and look around. Probably there is something in the neighborhood that frightens them. So they went again, and drawing near, they caught sight of the maid on top of the tree. Immediately they went back to their master with the news of their discovery. The Padisha, deeply interested, hurried to the spot and looking up into the tree, saw a maiden beautiful as the full moon, whom to see was to desire. Are you a spirit or a fairy? Called out the Padisha to her. Neither spirit nor fairy, but a child born of man, answered the maid. In vain the Padisha besought her to come down. She had not sufficient courage to do so, and Padisha, aroused to anger, gave orders to fell the tree. The slaves took hatchets and hacked and split the tree on every side, and it was almost ready to fall when night came down upon them, and they were compelled to postpone their task. They had hardly disappeared when the stag came out of the forest, and seeing the state of the tree, he questioned his sister as to what had transpired. You did well, said the stag when he had heard the story. Do not come down under any circumstances. Then going to the tree, the stag licked it, and lo, the trunk became thicker than it was before. Next morning, the stag went into the forest again, and when the Padisha's people came, great was their surprise to see that not only was the tree whole, but it was even thicker than before. Nevertheless, they resumed their work and had about half completed their task when night once more suspended the operations. To be brief, when the slaves had gone home, the stag came again and licked the tree with the same result as before, only that the trunk was thicker than ever.
That's some licking. Go ahead.
Scarcely had the stag gone away next morning than the Padisha came again with his woodcutters, and seeing that the tree was whole and sound, he decided to seek other means to accomplish his purpose. He went therefore to an old woman who followed the calling of a witch and related the story, promising her much treasure if she would entice the maiden from down the tree. The witch willingly undertook the task, and carrying to the spring an iron tripod, a kettle, and other things. She placed the tripod on the ground with the kettle on top of it, but bottom upward. Then, drawing water from the spring, pretending to be blind, she poured the water not in the vessel, but outside it. The maiden, seeing this and believing the woman to be really blind, called to her from the tree, Mother, you have set the kettle upside down and the water is falling on the ground. Oh, my dear, began the old creature, where are you? I cannot see you. I have brought dirty clothes to wash. For the love of Allah, come and place the kettle aright so that I can get on with my washing. But fortunately, the maid remembered the stag's warning and remained where she was. Next day the witch came again, stumbled under the tree, lit a fire, and brought forth meal. Instead of the meal, however, she began to place ashes in the sieve. Poor blind woman, called the maiden from the tree, you are not putting meal but ashes into your sieve. I am blind, my dear, said the witch fretfully. I cannot see. Come down and help me. Once again, however, her ruse was unsuccessful, and the maiden could not be induced to disregard her brother's warning. On the third day, the witch came once more to the tree, this time bringing a lamb to slaughter. But as she took up the knife, she attempted to press the handle instead of the blade into the animal's throat. The maiden, unable to endure the torture of the poor creature, forgot everything else and came down to put it out of its misery. She soon repented of her rashness, for hardly had she set foot upon the ground than the Padisha, who was hidden behind a tree, pounced upon her and carried her off to his palace. Is this motherfucking story still going
You
on?
better read that story. People like to hear
The
this
maiden
stuff.
found such favor in the eyes of the Padisha that he desired ardently to marry her at once. But she refused to consent until her brother, the stag, was brought to her. Slaves were therefore dispatched to find the stag, and they soon brought him to the palace. This done, the twain never left each other's side. They slept together and arose together. When the marriage was celebrated, the stag still would not quit his sister, and when at night they retired, he struck her lightly with his forefeet, saying, "This is the brother-in-law's bone. This is the sister's bone." Time comes and goes, story time more quickly, and with the lovers the most quickly of all. Ours would have lived altogether happily before a black slave woman in the palace who was overcome with jealousy because the Padisha had chosen the maiden from the tree instead of herself. This woman awaited an opportunity for revenge, which was not long in coming. In the vicinity of the palace was a beautiful garden, in the midst of which was a large pond. Here the Sultan's wife was accustomed to come for pastime. In her hand a golden drinking cup, on her feet silver shoes. One day, as she stood by the pond, the slave darted from her hiding place and plunged her mistress headfirst into the water to be swallowed by a large fish which swam in the pond.
In the porn.
She to be swallowed by a large fish which swam in the pond. That's because the story too goddamn long.
Would you read the story?
The black woman returned to the palace as though nothing had happened, and donning her mistress's robe, she put herself in her place. When night came, the Padisha inquired of his supposed wife what had happened that her face was so changed. "I've been walking in the garden and have become sunburnt," she answered. The Padisha, nothing doubting, drew her to his side and spoke words of consolation. But the stag came in, and recognizing the deception, stroked the pair gently with his forefeet, saying, "This is the brother-in-law's bone. This is the sister's bone." It's just really tickling you, huh? I'm glad somebody enjoying this shit. The slave was now fearful lest she might be exposed by the stag, so she set herself to contrive a means to get rid of him. Next day she feigned illness, and by money and fine words persuaded the physicians to tell the Padisha that his consort was dangerously ill, and only by eating a stag's heart could she hope for recovery. The Padisha went to his supposed wife and asked her whether it would not grieve her if her brother, the stag, were slaughtered. "What am I to do?" sighed she. "If I die, evil will befall him. It is better he should be killed, that I should not die, and he will be delivered from his animal form." The Padisha thereupon gave orders to sharpen the knife and heat water in the boiler. The poor stag perceived the hurrying to and fro and understood full well its dire significance. He fled to the pond in the garden and called 3 times to his sister. "The knife is being sharpened. The water in the boiler is heated. My sister, hasten and help." Thrice he was answered from the interior of the fish. "Here I am in the fish's stomach. In my hand a golden drinking cup. On my feet silver shoes. In my lap a little Padisha." For a son had been born to the Sultan's wife, even while she lay in the fish's stomach. The Padisha, with some followers intent on the capture of the stag, came up in time to overhear the conversation at the pond. To draw out the water was the work of a few minutes. The fish was seized, its belly slit, and behold, there lay the Sultan's true consort, a golden drinking cup in her hand, silver shoes on her feet, and a little son in her arms. Transported with joy, the monarch returned to the palace and related the occurrence to his suite. Meanwhile, the stag, by chance licking upon some blood of the fish, was changed again into human form. He rejoined his sister and judged of the additional happiness which felt at seeing her beloved brother again in his natural shape.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's it? Oh, no, it wasn't. There's more.
The Padisha now commanded the Arabian slave woman to be brought before him, and demanded of her whether she preferred 40 swords or 40 horses. Swords to cut the throats of my enemies, for myself 40 horses that I may ride. Thereupon was the vile woman bound to the trails.
The tails. Thereupon.
That's tails? Oh. Thereupon was the vile woman bound to the tails of 40 horses, which setting off at a gallop tore her to pieces. Then the Padishah and his consort celebrated their marriage a second time. The stag prince also found a wife among the ladies of the court, and for 40 days and 40 nights there were rare festivities in honor of the double wedding, as they ate, drank, and accomplished their object. Let us also eat, drink, and accomplish that which we have set out to do.
So what you think about that one? Now that's the original Hansel and Gretel. This is the Turkish origin of, I guess, what's going on. With the why you don't want to chew at night. It seems if you do anything at night, Turkish people believe you'll make a mistake. Dude was tired of walking in the beginning, so he wanted something to drink. And she was like, just walk a little bit more, but no, he had to have something to drink, so he drank, turned into a stag. This all happened at night. So now they keep walking, and he come over to the tree, and you didn't find that interesting every time he licked the tree, it grew thick? That was interesting. That was interesting. Okay. Ooh. And then the witch trying to get her to come out of the tree.
And then here come the black woman slave.
Oh, happened.
Where the fuck she
This
come
is not
from?
how I imagined this conversation
She come just popping up.
happening. Okay, let me start with. Let me go back.
Hebrew black woman slave showed up
Okay, so
in Turkey.
he takes the lady, and then we've got some bestial.
Stags.
No, but bestial. What is it called when you do it with your brother?
That's incest.
Yeah, some bestial incest going on. Like the stag and the sister, they just hold up together. Who hold up for 3 days? Was it the stag and the sister or the man? And so so look, the brother-in-law. So when the marriage was celebrated, the stag would not quit his sister. At night they retired, and he struck her lightly with his forefeet. And 4 feet means. And the stag's supposed to be the devil. So they done turned the man into the devil. The brother is the devil now. And now the brother,
right.
her brother-in-law
right.
for him.
Right.
And then he's striking her lightly with his forefeet. And your feet, the forefeet is the penis. That's the what inside knowledge, inside the hush hush. What word am I looking for? That's the symbolism, symbolic meaning of feet is penis. That's why we had this conversation before, why you equate the length of a man's foot with the size of his penis. That we got that there. Now we also got this black slave woman. Like you mentioned, where does she come from? She just comes from nowhere. And can't nobody tell the difference between this black woman and this other lady? Nobody can tell the difference. So this right here tells of the Turkish people's fear of black people, black women, that they're gonna just
Black
take their
women.
places,
Yeah,
their
black
place.
women.
Like we're just gonna take your place, and you can't tell the difference between two women. You got so many hoes, you can't tell the difference. I got a tan, bitch. You got a tan, so you look like a whole different bitch. Something ain't right with this story. So he like, all right, bitch, whatever. You got a tan. He can't even recognize she the bitch that he was gonna marry before he met the bitch at the tree. He don't even see that she like, I got a tan. He like, okay, you got a tan. Come on. So he rolling with her. Then the only one who can recognize is the different person. is the brother who is now the devil, which is the stag.
Hmm.
So I guess she ain't letting him hit her off lightly with his 4 feet because she ain't into the bestialities. So he like, oh hell no, this ain't my sister. I don't know who this bitch is. This black ass bitch. She didn't got to tan my ass. I don't know who this bitch is. So
Harry Tubman shows up.
so what are
I'm
they
sorry.
really trying to say? That we really are all black people look alike? Because black people do look alike. But then this had to have been written by someone of another culture because black people do look alike when I'm watching movies. Sometimes I'm like, why do you have everybody look alike? Like, why are they all the same complexion and bald headed? Like, can't they all look, one be light skinned, one be chocolate, one be brown, and spread the black around? But sometimes when you're all one complexion in a culture, maybe they do start to look alike. I'm trying to work with the story, y'all. I'm trying to help it out. Because right now, I can't figure out how y'all can't tell each other apart from each other. So then he figured it out. So he helped her out. What did he do to get her back? He opened up the fish. Oh, the chick. So the black lady killed her. And I guess the fish, once again, some biblical references of Jonah,
Hmm.
fish, eating people whole is a concept that has been consistently repeated throughout the years. So there has to be something to it somewhere, somehow, some way. I don't know. I don't want to be the one to find out. So now they open up the well and we find she's in there. She done had a baby. So she been in there. So the black lady done been up in with this dude 9 months, a damn year. And this nigga ain't realized it's the new bitch. This black bitch got good cooch. And this is also, I think, one of the fears of these people, that black women have good coochie and we will take your man, and if you don't have a brother to come fight for you, you just gonna be stuck in the fishes. That's swimming with the fishes. I guess that's where that comes from, swimming with the fishes. Because if he didn't open up the fish, she'd still be swimming with the fishes. Her, the baby, the shoes, the cup, all of the above would still be swimming with the fishes. So at the end of the story, we have a great little life thing as they ate. They got married for a second time, which is a nice concept. We see people have been having double marriages for quite some time, as well as I'm glad the brother got him his own hoe because he ain't need to be doing it to his sister no more. That was not cute. I'm just glad he got his own girlfriend. So, let us also eat, drink, and accomplish that which we have set out to do. They got married again. They renewed their vows. There's a lot of things going on with that particular
Yeah, that was a lot.
superstition. Chewing gum. You think this superstition, is it the real thing, or do you give it the thing?
This superstition is based. I mean, I don't know. What is the question? The real thing?
Do you believe that
What?
you gonna stop chewing gum? Do you think chewing gum is bad luck? Are you gonna stop
No.
chewing gum and at night, or period at all? Or you not gonna chew chewing gum when you go? Because for real, as an actor, don't act like that. People don't be like, give me, spit out the chewing gum, spit it out right now. You know, and start just having mints. Do you buy into chewing gum is bad luck? Is it a
No.
thing, or do you give it the middle thing?
I give it the middle thing. I will forever continue chewing gum any time of the damn day, whenever I want to. Fuck with them savage ass Turks talking about, especially with the shit they doing right now. However, this is a very intriguing superstition. It's very interesting. It's very graphic. You know.
Well, as
It's
these
like
episodes
a bad
go,
nightmare. Yeah, it's kind of graphic, but no, it's not gonna stop me from chewing gum.
so
At
you
night
what?
or
What's your
anything.
answer? You give it the middle
I
finger?
give it the middle finger.
Bing.
Turks.
I give it a thing. I think it just might be a thing because ever since I was a little girl, I've had some chewing gum bad luck. So I think it's a thing, and I'm tired of being on set or in auditions and having to spit my chewing gum out. Like I've had to, and my audition for Robert Townsend for the first time, he said that to me. He was like, could you get rid of the chewing gum? Really? Come on, babe. What's going on? You're a college graduate. You coming to an audition with chewing gum in your mouth? And he said that made a difference to him. I mean, he gave me the job, and he been my mentor for, 50 years? Well, not 50 because I'm only 12. But
I get it, man.
yeah. So I'm going to say it's not bad luck, but I am going to say it's a thing. You don't need to be walking up anywhere chewing no chewing gum. It's just not a good look. It's not cute. Just, how you cracking it? I can't stand people crack, crack, crack. It's like, why? So for me, it's a thing. I'm not gonna stop chewing gum because I stopped smoking cigarettes. So yay, chewing gum is helpful. If I think of buying some chewing gum, I'll get some chewing gum. I rarely chew chewing gum. We're not chewing gum people.
Not like that.
We don't really chew chewing gum. I'm more of a lozenge kind of gal because I work a lot with my voice. So, yeah, for me, the chewing gum thing is a thing. I'm not going to be running around chewing a bunch of chewing gum. So, yeah, for me, it's definitely a thing. So, thank you for tuning in to Very Superstitious. We hope you enjoyed our show. You want to say goodbye?
Thank you. My name is Forrest D. Martin. Thank you. See you next time.
Tell me I'm the only one.